It's your progressive lens expert situation. You've developed a crack on the bridge of your favorite pair of glasses, and it's just a matter of days until they completely fall apart and you can't even replace that frame anymore because it's been discontinued or perhaps gone into the vintage category within that collection of eyeglasses. In this case, we're talking about the Robert Mark 863. Dilemma: your progressive lenses are worth more than the frame itself, and the store that you went to when you tried to troubleshoot the problem and say, hey guys, can you replace the frame? I'll gladly buy another one. They've told you that it's not available anymore and that you're gonna have to buy an entire set of new frames and lenses because they don't want to put those lenses that are in perfect condition onto a new frame. Today, I show you how to reverse engineer the exact measurements, the exact fit, the wrap measurement, the vertex measurement, the pentoscopic measurement, the seg height, the pupillary distances. We're gonna match that while you pick a different set of frames that is very similar in shape and color and size to the original frame you had. So when other places are telling you it can't be done, I'm saying that you can. This is a technique that I've been using for many, many years in helping people reuse their progressive lenses. Let's cover it. Step one, measure the circumference on the progressive lenses that you want to continue using. The lenses that fit onto the Robert Mark 862 have a circumference measurement of 146.53 millimeters. Write that number down because that's going to be the most important qualifying factor on which frames you can use and which frames you can't. Write that number down and we'll revisit that in a minute. Now let's move to step two. Let's narrow down the number of frames that are going to be potential candidates for the ones that we're going to put those lenses into. So we want to choose frames that are going to be similar in color, similar in size, similar in shape. Once you've narrowed down the number of frames to two choices, measure the circumference of the demo lenses that are inside of those frames. When wanting to put the lenses that were originally of the Robert Mark 862, I found that there were two choices that were very, very good for those, and that was the Robert Mark Series 1 1007 and also the Robert Mark 877. Those had the closest circumference, size, and shape and color of the frame. Always remember though, in this video, we're only discussing acetate frames that are made out of a high quality Italian acetate, or it can be Japanese acetate. As long as it's high quality, it'll work very well. This, for example, would not qualify because it's made out of titanium. When you have these frames, you don't have the ability to reshape them. What you see is what you get. Here I'm holding the Robert Mark Series 1 1007. The circumference is 145.10 in millimeters. The Robert Mark 877 is also very, very close. This is so awesome because we're keeping these measurements within 1.5 millimeters total, which is amazingly close and will require very little shaping of the actual frame. After decades of testing and reshaping digital progressive lenses onto different frames, I discovered that it takes about 3.05 millimeters of circumference to increase the width of the lens by 1 millimeter. So pick frames that have a circumference difference of less than 3 millimeters. 3 millimeters is going to be just enough allowance to reshape the frame slightly while maintaining the quality and the integrity of the acetate. If the equipment used to measure the circumference of the lens is the most important piece of hardware we use, then this, my friends, is the second most important piece of equipment that we're going to use to reuse your progressive lenses onto a new frame. This is my frame warmer. It's the PSI NH320F. I've had it for a really long time. It works very well. It's an overpriced blow dryer, I understand, but it has a very nice on and off switch. Also, here we have a temperature so we can turn off and on the heat. There's few situations, but still very useful, when I want to use air, but I don't want to use the hot air. Also, I have a temperature control knob right here that I can control how hot it gets. Most of the time when I want heat, I'll turn it all the way up and just be really careful on how long I put those frames inside. But nonetheless, I have a frame warmer. This is my favorite, the one I use. When I first started in this business, I used a hair dryer, believe it or not. If you're an optician and optical and you have a frame warmer, go ahead and turn it on and begin by getting the new frame that you've selected, that you're going to put the progressive lenses into that new frame. Put the right side in here and begin to warm it up. While the lenses are warming up, get a marker and look at where the laser engravings are, the 180 line, and go ahead and mark them on that progressive lens. This is going to be very important because we want to maintain the measurements, and those are going to allow us to do that. Warning, warning, warning! Warming frames up takes a lot of practice and skill, so don't practice on frames that you cannot replace yourself. When the frame orbital is hot, then you insert the lens by the temporal side first, and then you slide your finger and then you insert the nasal side second. Repeat this process with the left lens, but you're not done yet. Check and recheck the 180 line. It has to be perfectly straight. That axis has to be there. Remember, we're going on quality and perfection, and it's the only way to do this. Then in the wearing position, adjust the frames on the customer. This has to be the wrap measurement, and let's adjust it on the customer. We have to match the pentascopic tilt, the wrap or curvature of the frame, the vertex distance. This can be done. It just takes a little bit of time, but if you're patient, we can match it exactly to the original measurements. You're done. Congratulations on reusing your progressive lenses from a broken frame onto a new frame that has similar measurements and similar color. When the optician has the expertise, you'd be surprised that you have very little limitations on what is possible. Have a great day and see you soon.